Welcome to the PayGate Standalone Payment Portal instruction video. The first thing you're going to do is extract the zip that you downloaded from the official PayGate GitHub repository or that you may have received from a PayGate support personnel. In this case, I'm using a Mac, but you may also be using a Windows computer, and you may use whichever WinZip or zipping program you have installed on your computer. If you don't have an unzipping program, you can search Google for unzipping program and it should come up. Inside the folder, you're going to find your PDF instruction manuals, this public.html zip, which is the portal files, and your changelog. Depending on which version you have, your changelog will tell you it may be version 1, it may be version 1.01, etc. We're going to now unzip the public HTML. Inside of this, we will find the following files. Now, the default install will automatically run you through an installation wizard. So all you have to do is upload all of these files into your external server. You can use any host that supports PHP. So hosts that will typically support WordPress or generally support this. You don't have to worry about any databases or anything complicated like that. Right, so I'm now going to open up my FTP program. I use FileZilla, but you can use any program that works for you. So here I've got the files that I showed you just a moment ago. I'm going to select them, and I'm in the public HTML folder or your document root, your main server. This is the folder that is live to the world. So if you type in your domain into your web browser, this will be the main folder that has the files that would be located at the main domain. I'm going to upload them. It's quite a small set of files, so it should upload very quickly. It won't take a lot of space on your server. Right, now that we've done this, we are going to open up our web browser to the same domain that we've pushed this folder to. If you're unsure about this, you can always speak to your web host or potentially contact PayGate and they may be able to assist. I've now opened up the standalone portal, and by default, for the first time that you run the standalone portal wizard, if you haven't saved your settings, you're going to see this page, which has various fields which you can enter. After you've done this, then you will only see the standalone portal page. If you ever need to reinstall, you would just recopy over the files like we've just done, overwriting any files that exist. Thereafter, you would be able to run the install wizard once again. Just before we get started, please note that you should not enter full stops at the end of your page title. This will be added automatically by the wizard where it's needed. So anything you enter, you just leave off any punctuation from the end. Let's start with the page title. We're going to just say standalone portal because that is a suggested default, but whatever your company name is, you might have your company name payment portal, you might have this as a donation page, or you may even have this for an event or a booking form. If you might have multiple versions of this page and you have this for a booking form, in which case you can easily enter that information as well. For the base URL, this will be the URL that you're on at the moment. So if you've just got a domain that you've registered with a web host, then it would be that domain. Or if you've got multiple subdirectories perhaps, maybe you've got donation portal, event 1, event 2, event 3, as long as you know what that domain is, that's what you'll enter in here. So you can typically copy your bar at the top, or it's going to try and suggest the correct one for you below. And all you have to do is just make sure you don't put a slash at the end of your URL, as it's written over here. Next, you're going to enter your PayGate ID. You're going to copy and paste that in there. And your encryption key. Make sure that you keep this information secret. These are the default PayGate PayWeb testing details. Here is a feature for expiry date. If you were going to run an event, a booking form that expired like a day before the event or something like that, then you can enter that date here, and the portal will automatically disable after that, so that you don't get payments after a particular time. If you just want to have a persistent page, a page that's going to last and last, then leave a date in the future. The default of 2050 is so far in the future, I doubt that this technology would still be relevant even in like 30 years time from now. We're now going to concentrate on the terms and conditions section. By default, PayWeb requires a terms and conditions page and a bunch of payment logos to be available on the page. Otherwise, you won't be able to have your payment page activated. So this is a boilerplate to kind of get you started so that you can be up and running fairly easily. So the first thing is to enter your company name. I'm going to use the example that we've got here, which is Super Clothing Company, Pty Limited. Next, we're going to add the company type, i.e. in this case it's a clothing manufacturer. Typically you're going to try and copy the format of the example. Here this is lowercase, so we're just putting it lowercase. For industry, we're going to say textiles. Your industry would obviously be different. For what a company does, we're going to say provide clothes for retail stores. So you're going to want to follow a similar kind of tense here. After you've done this page, if you find that it's not quite working, I'll show you how to edit the terms and conditions, or you could just recopy over the files from your public HTML zip and it will redo the installation wizard for you. Once you have set up the site, you won't be able to redo the installation wizard automatically, and that is a safety feature so that other people aren't able to come and edit your portal whenever they feel like it. So you should only really do the installation wizard once, and if you need to edit it, follow our editing steps, or you can just do a reinstall and that will show the wizard. Just be careful about that. If you've already shared this domain or URL with anybody else, if they happen to land on this page while you're reinstalling, they will see these details, and they may try and edit your page and point it to their own payment page. So it's best to rather get this done before you release your URL. So the next thing we're going to say is enter the days you take to process. If you're doing like an order, or you have a person that is looking at your merchant access portal to make sure that the transactions came through, or maybe you wait until the actual payments come through to your bank account when transactions are pushed through from your bank recon, you would need to enter the amount of days required to process. If you're doing donations, most people doing donations will say 1 day, because you need to give a bit of time just for everything to reflect, to get the notice and so on. I'm going to say 10 days. You might want to say business days, it's up to you. Confirmation method here you're going to say what kind of confirmation method you're using. You might say email, booking number. Once we finish configuring the PayGate payment portal, you will see that we can add a reference and a number for the amount that will be paid, and also an email address. It's up to you. Typically I would say like a booking number or reference number, which I'll do in this case. But that is up to you. Keep in mind that it should be lowercase. You should mention if you use courier or postal services and associated cost. If I would say confirmation method was reference number using courier services, I would say at a flat fee of R65. Let's say in this case, because we're delivering textiles, we know the weight and we have a particular fee. Or we could say at a fee calculated upon receipt of payment. It's up to you, but you got a bit of flexibility. But basically, you need to put in here your confirmation method and the associated costs should you use courier or postal services. And then export restrictions. The offering on this website is available to South African clients only. If you're going to be sending international, you will probably delete that, or you might say in South Africa and Namibia by default. Just leave that there. Yeah, don't delete it, rather cut it if you're not sure, because you can always put it back like that. Okay, payment options accepted. The defaults are Visa and MasterCard, but you might also want Amex, you might have CID Instant EFT, WeCodes, etc. So that's up to you. You just enter the relevant fields, and if you add a method later, you can always edit your configuration file, which I'll show you. Okay, here's the administration fee. In this case, we'd say it's like a 10 Rand, but you could also do a 5%. That's a percentage fee is generally probably a bit better. In this case, in this use case, if you're doing donations, you're not really going to have an admin fee. Then you'd say of 0 Rand. So it's very clear that there's no administration fees. Okay, so here's the returns and refunds. The provision of goods and services by us is subject to availability. In cases of unavailability, we will refund the client in full within 30 days. Cancellation of orders by the client will attract an administration fee. If appropriate, you're going to provide details of your policy regarding damaged goods. You should also mention guarantees, warranties, and so forth. In this case, I think that is acceptable. Maybe my refund policy is 10 days. If you are doing a donation and you are a PBO or something like that, you're going to need to just check this with the legal team. But you have to just double check the Consumer Protection Act. You can't just say that you're not going to refund people. If somebody makes a mistake, then you need to be able to have some kind of policy in place, at least within the terms and conditions. So anybody paying on the portal will be subject to those terms and conditions. Your domicilium. So basically, your legal address, where any legal information should be sent. Typically it's your registered office. I'm using the defaults there. Okay, enter your company structure. In this case we said it was a Pty limited, so I'm going to say private company. Enter your trading name. If your trading name is the same as your full name, or maybe you don't use a Pty limited, or you have a different company, you enter it here. If it's the same, just put the trading name as the same. Okay, your registration number. There's not a restriction on the format, because if you're a non-profit, or a PBO, you're going to have a different format for your number, but you should have your identification here. If you're a sole trader, then you need to have your identification as well. You're going to enter your director, member / owner details. So in this case, it's a company, so we'd have directors. So I'm going to say first person. In this case, we're going to say there's one director. First person, we're going to say directors. Keep in mind what I said about the full stops. We don't want full stops. Right, then we're going to say physical address. It's the same in this case. In most cases, it will be the same as your domicilium. Then you've got your company email, the official email should somebody need to get a hold of you. Likewise, you also need the telephone of your business. Put that through there. Finally, you select the logos that you will need. In this case, we're going to have the DPO SA, the DPO South Africa. We're going to have MasterCode Secure Code. We're going to have the Visa, not Visa Checkout, that's a different thing, and MasterCard, not MasterPass. If you do have Visa Checkout, MasterPass, verified by Visa, actually verified by Visa we will want. Then if you do have MasterPass and Visa Checkout, then you can enable it. If you've got SID, you should enable that, or PayPal or ESCO. These are to be used specifically if you have used a certified developer, or you are a PayGate certified developer, you can use that logo there. If you're using the risk engine, you could enable that as well, which is really good. Or if you're using Amex, etc. But the defaults, you're going to typically have to have this, and this. I'm going to say save. This is going to set it up, and now we're ready to go. This is now the portal. It will stay to the same URL that you entered, and you'll be able to make a payment. Just before we go and give that a try, we're going to read through our terms and conditions and make sure that there wasn't any typos, any extra spaces. You're going to want to make sure that this makes sense. Here are our logos. That all looks good. Super Clothing Company Pty Limited is a clothing manufacturer in the textiles industry that provides clothes for retail stores. There's a delivery policy within 10 days, confirmed by way of reference number, with orders delivered by courier at a flat fee of 65 Rand. You can see how all of our information has just been fed straight into the portal. There's our export restriction. If you delete that clause, this won't actually show. It'll go straight from 2 to 3 as the returns policy. The provision of service subject to availability. We will refund the client in full within 10 days. Remember, I changed that from 30 to 10, your specific results will be a bit different depending on your requirements. There's some other clauses which are required, like a privacy policy. There's payments made by Visa and MasterCard. Put in our name automatically throughout the page. Let's put in our domicilium over here, example street, Pretoria. We've also got our registration number, the fact that we are a private company, and that these are the directors, and that's our trading name. Okay, and over here we've got company physical address, email, and the telephone all linked up. So this is a pretty good boilerplate. You can edit it if you have to have specific changes. I'm going to show you how to edit the configuration, and if you do have to edit the terms and conditions, then I'll show you where you do that as well. Let's quickly test. We're going to say create transaction. If somebody tries to say pay now, it's going to prompt you, say, okay, we actually need some. If somebody puts in R, nothing happens. If somebody puts in letters, nothing happens. If they put in their numbers, it's like say this is 100 Rand, then it will accept that. Let's put in an email address. If I put in an incorrect email address and I try to say pay now, it's going to say, we need an @ in the email address. And we're going to say example @domain.com, right? And now if we say pay now, it's going to say we need a reference. The reference can be any free text. So if we want to add the reference here, we'd say, let's say this is our order number. Remember that this is a standalone portal for Super Clothing Pty Limited. So I'm going to say order 110. We click pay now. This is going to automatically redirect with the fallback button there. And here we are at the PayGate payment page. And remember, I put in the test transaction details. So this isn't a live PayGate ID, but your live PayGate ID will show. If you have enabled multiple methods like CID and WeCode and so on, those options will appear here. But by default, if it's Visa and MasterCard, then this will be what will appear. Click the back button and see what that says. It says transaction cancelled. The user can try again. Try again will remember the field, so they don't have to keep saying the same thing. You can say pay now. Right. Now we're going to do a failed transaction. This is the default failed transaction number that is used by PayGate. I think 28 is the fail. Okay, transaction declined. We're going to say try again. If you did say click here, I'll show you. It will just zap it. But we want to try again. We're going to say pay now. You'll notice that our reference will have the reference number we've entered, there's a rand amount, and the email address entered will receive a notice of payment being made. So PayGate takes care of all of that. It's a really great, awesome system. So it makes your life easy. So here we're going to try Mr. Pass. Actually, let's try Ms. Pass. Okay, and for the number it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 2. That is the default pass testing card detail. We're going to say next. Here's a simulation of an OTP. We're going to say submit. And it says transaction approved. The client may at this point create a new transaction or most probably close the portal. So let's see what we're going to do if we need to edit information for our portal after we've already set it up. And we don't want to completely redo the installation process. We're going to head on over to FileZilla. We are now going to go into our includes folder on the server. And there's an extra file here called _.env. This is the configuration file where the wizard will store all of the details that you entered. If you look in the default package that you would have received, you'll see that there's no env file. I'm on a Mac, so Mac adds these dot files, which don't really do anything. You can delete them quite safely. You can ignore yours. If you have a Windows machine, you probably won't have that problem. So here's the env file. In this case, I'm going to say view/edit, but you could also download it, edit it, and then upload it. That's generally safer. And I'll show you why now. If you make a mistake, you can always undo it. So we're going to download. What you can do just to make sure that you are safe on your local computer, don't do this on the server, add a .back for a backup and then download. That way you've got a copy, and it's always safer to have an extra copy. You don't want to do this on the server, because if you say .back on the server, somebody would be able to download it, which is not good. So don't do that on the server. We're now going to right click and say edit. This opens up our default text editor. Because I'm a software developer, mine is opened up in a special text editor, but you will also be fine if it opens up in Notepad or text edit, depending on your platform. If you happen to open it up in Notepad, it's going to look something like this. Just make it a bit bigger with Command plus or Control plus if you're on a Windows PC. And you can see it has the same information. This page does not have lots of scary code. It has pretty easy to read text which you can edit. I'm going to switch back to my editor because it will show the different types of text a bit easier. And here we are back. So just to give a little bit of a background, these parts that have these dashes and slashes, those are comments. They're ignored by the system. This is so that you can see which field each one of these are. This scary thing with a $sign, that's what's called a variable. This is where our text here is stored, and it's used by the system to be able to work out, to build your terms and conditions, to build the global settings, etc. What we can do here is if we need to edit the title, I could change this to Super Clothing Portal. Super Clothing. Whoop. Just use a suggestion here. Payment Portal. Super Clothing Payment Portal. If I save that with a Command S or Control S, then FileZilla will prompt me to upload it. You see it says a file previously opened has been changed. I say yes. And now if we go to the payment portal and I refresh my page, it now says Super Clothing Payment Portal. Let's go a bit further. Let's see if we wanted to add another logo. We've now got, let's say in this case, we've decided to add SID Instant EFT. How would we do this? There are 3 sections in the configuration file which match the wizard that we did just a moment ago. We've got the global settings, we've got the terms and conditions, and we've got the logo images. So we're going to find SID Secure EFT, and we're going to change that to true. Okay. Just to see here, you should set true to display or false to hide. So these are the same options. They don't display quite as nicely as they did in the wizard, but if you want to save yourself a bit of time, I'm sure that editing this code file will be fine. So we're going to just say save there with Control S or Command S. We're going to say yes on FileZilla if you're using FileZilla. Then we're going to come back to the browser and say refresh. Okay, there's the SID logo. It's popped up. Super easy, super friendly, and ready to go. But now that we've added SID under the terms and conditions, remember we said payment may be made by Visa and MasterCard. So let's add Visa, MasterCard and SID Secure EFT. So back at this page here, we go to Visa, MasterCard and SID Secure EFT. Let me just remove the space there. Okay, I can move this back. Don't worry about this, won't make any difference. If this is like that or like this, it won't make any difference. The important thing is to make sure you edit the text between the speech marks. You don't want to edit anything outside of that, and you don't want to leave it like this. If you leave it like this, this is what the computer is going to see. It's going to be confused. So just edit the text inside. If everything breaks, you can always reinstall, you can always run through again. You can even copy the information you had here and paste it in to your wizard. But if you aren't afraid to get into the code and make the changes you need, then this will be much quicker and easier. So I'm going to say Command S. I'm going to upload my file. I'm going to refresh, and there we go. Visa, MasterCard, and SID Secure EFT. Something you might want to do is, if you did add spaces at the beginning or end, like I did when I did it here, you can easily fix that. If you ever need to change some details, your email, your phone, all of those details are here, and there are notes which tell you what each of these fields are. So it's broken up quite easily, and you are able to see what each field does and what you should enter as an example. I'm going to finish this off, save, okay, and refresh. And that's it, this is ready to go. Now let's say I want to reinstall. If I want to completely wipe all of this, I'll delete these files because I don't want to keep my PayGate ID and secure secret just on the computer. It can stay on the server where it's safe. And I'm going to, if I need to reinstall, I can just go to a fresh directory, get the latest version, and I just upload it. It's going to prompt me to overwrite. I would say overwrite. You might do this for every single file, so I'd say always use this action and apply to the current queue only. So if we do want to do a fresh install, what we'll want to do is extract the files if we don't have them on hand. In this case, we still have the same public_HTML file that we had previously, so we can use that. But if you are doing this again, maybe it's like 3 months time, you've got a new event, you want to update the portal, maybe there's some new features that we've added to the standalone payment portal, and you want to enjoy those features as well. All you do is you go to the repo, you download the latest version, you extract those files, and you then upload them to your server, overwriting your existing files. So I'll do that here. I will select this and say upload. If you're using FileZilla, it's going to prompt you to say that the target file already exists. We're going to say we want to overwrite, but apply to the current queue only. So always use this action and apply to the current queue only. We're going to say OK. It's going to do its thing, overwriting, and then done, ready to go. If we now happen to go back to the browser, now we'll enter the details that we need to do. I'll just speed through these here. For your base URL, it's going to prompt you to include the temp. You're going to remove that because you don't want the temp. Right, then you're going to put all of your other details. I'll just speed through this. You'll see the end result now. Okay, I click save to save. Now when you save, it will automatically redirect to the base URL. So that's going to be your URL without temp. Don't worry about that. If you've already configured that, it'll be your old payment page. Just hang with me for now. We're going to go back to FileZilla and we're going to sort it all out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're still in the temp directory. We're going to go up one directory and we're going to delete everything except the temp directory. Right. Say yes. And we're going to copy everything from the temp directory into the main directory above. Here we go. Almost done. The last step is to delete that temp directory. There we go. If we now refresh, everything is as it needs to be. Hopefully you won't need to do that level of complexity, but if you do need to and there are new versions, then that's an easy way to do it. Thanks for your time.